Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Today, inshallah, continuing with the family series of the most important episode of all is how to choose a spouse and the importance of marriage at all. Meaning that we have to abide by the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the teaching of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in order for us to have a successful marriage. And if we abide by the rules and regulations of the given by Islam to choose a spouse, we will be successful. And if we stay away from the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the teaching of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how to choose your spouse, we will pay the price. We get phone calls all the time from sisters and brothers saying, I'm having a hard time with my spouse, either or. And we usually ask the first question, Ukhti and Akhi, how did you choose your husband? How did you choose your wife? On what basis did you say I do? So with that, being proactive and not reactive and preventative measures, inshallah, by raising awareness and educating ourselves of how to choose a spouse according to the Islamic teaching, it is a successful means, inshallah, in order for us to attain this beautiful, long-lasting life, inshallah, with our spouse in a beautiful environment, with the right foundation, so we can build upon it, inshallah. With that in mind, let us proceed, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who listen to speech and follow the best of it. And when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, يا معشر الشباب من استطاع منكم الباء فليتزوج فإنه أغض للبصر وأحسن للفرج ومن لم يستطع فعليه بالصوم فإنه له وجاء. This hadith is متفق عليه, agreed upon between Bukhari and Muslim. When Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم was talking to the youth, يا معشر الشباب, because that's when we expect you're starting to start getting ready for marriage, not when you're 65 and you ask, why brother, haven't you get married yet? Because I'm still collecting dowry. 65 still, Dahi? Yes, so we'll whisper into the brother's ears, inshallah, later on, as you will see. Don't make it a business deal, Akhi and Ukhti. This is, you're buying a man, not selling a woman, as you will see among the teaching of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the dowry, yes, أَقَلُّهُنَّ مَهُورًا أَكْثَرُهُنَّ بَرَكَةً, then this is the least amount of dowry is more sustenance, barakah, inshallah, sustenance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So let's not make what's halal difficult, so haram, the unlawful, will be easy. The scholar says, why is it so difficult nowadays when you hear the brothers and sisters can't find or can't marry and so on? It says, لأنكم صعبتم الحرام الحلال فصار الحرام يسيرا. You made what is lawful very difficult, and that's now the unlawful become easy. It's not a green light for us, wallahi, to do the unlawful thing, but it is the whisper for our ear now, which is to come back to the roots of who we are, Muslims, Akhi and Ukhti, abiding by the word of Allah and the Sunnah of Prophet ﷺ. Otherwise, wallahi, we would pay the price. But is this brother here, this poor servant to Allah, is mushfiq, I love you in Allah's sake. So let's come back to who we are and make it easy for all of us, specifically for our brothers and sisters out there, for your daughters and your sons, to make it easy for them, inshallah, to do the right, make the right decision, and make it easy for them to support him, to help him, not be a burden upon them, inshallah. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, meaning the verse, that come to the homes through the door, not through the window. And we don't say that this Rapunzel, lower down your whatever, your hair for me to come up. And this is movies, these are fantasies. So we can't be waiting for a man on a white horse knocking on the door as a knight and say, oh, he must have this long hair and chest looking like this and the abdomen looking like that and muscles. Ukhti, these are, yes, we're not denying that fact, Ukhti, but we can't live a fantasy that these are like reading certain books and this is what I'm waiting for. You'll be waiting for a long time. So let's be practical and come back to the teaching. Let's descend to earth now, come back from Mars, and stick to what we have here, inshallah, Akhi, Ukhti. And I tell the brothers all the time, do you want your sister to do the same thing as you're doing to somebody else's sister, Akhi? No. So if you don't approve of it, why do it to somebody else? And Ukhti, you understand that the brothers want somebody that has no experience. So don't be an easy bait, Ukhti. Please, wallahi, it's not meaning to offend anybody. This is a poor servant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's trying to give an advice to my brothers and sisters. It's not pointing the finger, wallahi, nor it's meant to make you feel bad. But remember, Ukhti, if the brother says, I usually when we talk to them, says, oh, I've been with this, I've been with that. But when you get married, will you get married to her? He says, no, I want somebody that's didn't have an experience. So, Ukhti, do you want to be the statistics? You want to be somebody else's past and you will not get married and you will be hurt for the rest of your life? No. So the brother that's trying to do something wrong with you is not the right brother to stick with as a husband. So be smart, ukhti. Be smart, inshallah. And I always tell the brothers and sisters, if you can't do it in front of your parents, don't do it behind their back. So they asked me, can I speak on the phone? Could I chat? I said, no problems. The question and the measuring stick is very simple. Because most people think al-khalwa is you have to physically be there, a man and a woman alone in four walls, nobody else sees it. No, it's not true. Chatting is also khalwa. Phone is also khalwa. How do you know? No problems. Huwa i'timanul faj'ah. Meaning if somebody walks in your room suddenly, will you change the conversation? If the answer is yes, then it's khalwa. Then you're being alone. And that's not allowed, ukhti. And if somebody comes in, will you minimize the screen or say, oh, yes, I'll meet you in the masjid to talk about this halaqah in the Qur'an, whatever. Let's be honest with each other, akhi and ukhti. So inshallah, let's not do something that will harm us later on, and do it right, inshallah. And Islam gives you that, the khitbah, the engagement period is to get to know one another. That's allowed. When you have a mahram, when you have a guardian with you, inshallah. So everything, inshallah, is legitimate. So Allah would bless this relationship. Let's not start it improperly. Let's do it right, inshallah. So Allah would bless it for you later on. And believe it or not, the scholars will tell you that the number one haqq, right of your children is choosing the right spouse. That's how important it is. Looking now in the future for how important it is for my children's sake, to choose the right spouse. This is the number one haqq, how important it is, inshallah. We cannot just be looking for this man, he drove in with a beautiful car. He has a great job. Okay, why did you choose him, ukhti? Well, I love his hair. I love the way he did his tie. Yes, but you will pay the price later, ukhti. But remember, khuluq, deen, number 1 and 2, ukhti. You can't just say, okay, well, you won't believe, have you seen this? The stone that he's giving me. It's not, ukhti, it's not a business deal. Yes, there's something called takafu. There's something called the equilibrium. We have to have equality between the two when it comes to mental state of mind, environment, financial means. I can't get somebody that's a queen of something and I give him to a brother that says, hey brother, can you help me, give me a dime? It just won't help, it won't work, akhi. Since we're on this topic, please, you understand, the takafu, my brothers and sisters, is also from the same environment. So when I hear that I went to back home, okay, according to the conversation, as soon as they say I went back home to find a wife, I go, we're looking for trouble. I'm not saying that we can't generalize. Obviously, some of that work. But al-istithna'u la taqumu alayhi qa'ida. Exceptions we cannot build a theory upon. But you understand that this person was raised in a different environment, has a different mentality, and your daughter was born and raised here. And now because I know that you want to protect the chastity of your daughter. May Allah bless you, wallahi, for your intention. But to go back to find somebody that she doesn't know, and she has no idea how they're raised, and they have a different mentality, and they have a different understanding. Everything is different. And all of a sudden, you expect this marriage is going to work? Very difficult. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but it's making it very difficult. When I say about this, it's for both, inshallah, brothers and sisters. Allah help us, inshallah, all. Let's talk about the men now, looking for a husband. That would be very difficult. For a wife, inshallah. Now, most of the brothers, when I talk to them, it says, what are you looking for, akhi, in a wife? He says, yes, Prophet Muhammad says, لِجَمَالِهَا. And that's the only part you remember from that hadith. But he mentioned 4 things. He mentioned her wealth, her beauty, her lineage, and her deen. فَظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَرِبَتْ يَدَاكَ. Meaning that, yes, her wealth is important. That's fine. Her beauty is important, yes. Because, remember, you want to lower your gaze, you want to also see you're beautiful, but the beauty is in the eye of the holder. It doesn't have to be, you understand. If you see her, she's pleasant, okay? And then he mentioned that deen, the lineage. But remember, everything also it could be a plus or a minus, because wealth could turn against you. Even lineage could turn against you. And the power, and of course the statistics and all these things could turn against you. And beauty could also turn against you, others, and so on. There's another hadith, inshallah, if we have enough time. But the Prophet Muhammad says, deen, my brother. Her deen. If she doesn't know the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is she going to know your rights? And same thing with the brothers. If you brothers don't know the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are you going to know how to treat your wife?